UPS workers to strike. And anywhere between, you'll see the number between 340,000 and 350,000. So some reports will say 340, and some other ones will say 350. So let's briefly read an update on what's happening with the UPS strike. United Postal Workers and the companies are in negotiations over a new contract. The workers who are vital to the company's economy often don't have time to return home for a full night of sleep or are forced to rest in shelters because their pay is too low to afford a room. So let's read a couple of paragraphs of this article, but this is just to give us an update on what's happening with UPS. And let's read. United Parcel Service workers are gearing up for a potential strike as they hold contract negotiations with the company. Talks between the company and the union representing UPS workers, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, opened on April 17th. Teamsters, so that's coming up on a month away. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien says that the workers are ready to walk off the job if UPS fails to reach a deal on a strong contract before the current one expires on July 31st. Workers are demanding better pay, more full-time work, better job security, and an end to two-tier 22.4 job classification. The deeply unpopular 22.4 provision creates a lower paid tier of workers who essentially perform the same work as senior drivers, but for lower pay. The workers are also demanding an end to excessive overtime, better protection against company harassment, the elimination of driver-facing cameras, the protection from hot water. Drivers reported extreme temperatures inside their delivery trucks in posts that went viral last summer. And workers like 24-year-old Esteban Chavez have died due to extreme heat. Part-time America won't work. A strike may have a formidable impact. UPS workers move 6% of the U.S. GDP in their trucks every day. The last time UPS Teamsters went on strike was 1997, when 85,000 workers walked off the job in one of the largest strikes in U.S. history. The work stoppage cost the company U.S. dollars $850 million, despite only lasting 15 days. The U.S. has not seen a strike at this magnitude since. Today, after e-commerce has grown exponentially, UPS employs over 340,000 Teamsters who deliver over 6 billion packages every year. UPS workers were declared essential workers during the COVID pandemic due to their critical role in distributing goods throughout the country. If these workers were to strike, the effects would be astronomical. A potential strike is leverage in the tough negotiations over the contract and workers mobilizing in various parts of the country. In Canaris, Brooklyn, UPS Teamsters from Local 804 rallied in front of UPS Customer Center on April 21st to build momentum. A crowd of 100 gathered while passing trucks honked in support. Quote, in 97, I was a part-timer on strike, said Chris Williams, Local 804 vice president, addressing the rally. Quote, the thing was, part-time America does not work. It still doesn't work, end quote. Part-time America won't work was a key slogan during the 1997 strike. The slogan highlighted resistance to UPS push to split stable full-time jobs into far more precarious part-time positions. The strike was successful, winning raises for workers in around 10,000 full-time jobs. Teamsters reiterated the slogan, "Part-time America won't work," several times at last week's rally because over 2 decades later, it remains relevant as unionized workers push for more full-time positions. And this will be the last paragraph. Uh, People's Dispatch spoke to Ronald Jeffries, a part-time worker from Brooklyn's East New York neighborhood. Jeffries works as a Wendy's because UPS does not provide him with enough hours to be able to survive off that job alone. UPS is meant to guarantee part-timers at least 3.5 hours each day, but Jeffrey says this is not always the case. Quote, "They rather you get off the clock before that," end quote. So this is sort of the latest on what's happening. July 31st is the big day that we're all talking about. That's actually what we're looking towards for our next summit, is to be, part of, to sort of be scheduled to be in sync with the contract running out on the 31st, and there be another contract in place and having some sort of summit because of that. So that's what we're working on. So I did want to give an update, but we needed to give a backdrop on the labor part before I told you about that. So those are the stories today. I believe I hit them all. Let's see what some people are saying. I see Bad Cookies. I see Gamer for Life in the chat. What other regulars? I don't see regulars, but I do see some people. There's a regular. Mouse SF. Wishing you strength and success and solidarity. Thank you. You're doing that to another comrade in the comments. Awesome to see that. 2-tier means new hires get screwed. Right. Pay the newbies, the people who are eager to get work, we can pay them less because they're so eager than these people who've been around and who have worked out through unions, better pay for people who have been there longer. No balls, UPS workers. They need to call Amazon and Target unions and make this bigger strike. Interesting. That actually would be a thing, something known as a general strike. Let's read this one. The company can't hire scabs if UPS and FedEx workers also go on strike at the same time. But that's against the law, and no union leader will risk six-figure incomes for workers. Right. A lot of the union leaders are sellouts. FedEx is their pilots. I think they're getting close to going on strike. I know for sure. FedEx is in a slightly different position because I don't know if all of their workforce of FedEx, but part of their workforce is governed by the Railway Act, which the Congress can force them back to work, and they know that. This is why this strike with UPS is so huge, because they're not covered by that. All 340,000 plus are not covered by the Railway Act. And the reason FedEx is covered by that, or part of their labor force is covered by that, is because they initially, when they opened as a business, I think they opened as an airline. Something to that effect. I can't remember exactly. So please see old segment. Did I read that whole thing? Yeah, I read that whole thing. My husband drives a brown truck. We are preparing for the long haul. And that's why somebody was speaking to Nihol. I think that's how you say it. Nihol. Yes, I love to see strikes. UPS guy. I'm assuming that you're saying you're a UPS guy. I recommend watching the Mad TV UPS. I remember those with that guy. He was always fidgety. He was like, yeah. He'd be like moving all the time. I remember that. Never gets old. Actually informative. Yeah, I remember that.